What's up, guys? Cameron Foose here with Iconic. Almost 2 years ago, I left the USA and I've been traveling the world ever since. So in today's video, I'm gonna break down my top 3 places to live in the world abroad. Yeah! So, first of all, I'm gonna be talking about places to actually live abroad. A lot of people think that I'm on vacation everywhere I go, but I am far from on a vacation. I've been living abroad for almost 2 years. So everywhere I go, I'm not on vacation. I'm actually living, working, getting on a routine in every spot that I go to. So I'm gonna give you the top 3 places that if I had to choose to be on a rotation throughout the entire year of 3 places I'd like to go, these would be my top 3. I'm gonna start at probably the bottom and go down to number 1 at the end. So, starting off with number 3, London, United Kingdom, which is where we are currently right now. We've been here almost a month and a half, I believe, is what we've been. So, I've been traveling a lot, and every time I go to a new place, you get this, sometimes you get it. And in London, I got it, is where you get a high when you just start feeling the vibe of the city. You get there, you're looking around, and you're just like, holy shit, this is amazing. And as soon as I dropped into London, I was like, I'm fucking in love with this place. So, some places you don't get it. When I went to LA, I didn't get it. I lived there for 3 months earlier this year. I almost thought I was gonna stop traveling and settle down in LA and have that kind of be my home base. But after 3 months there, I was like, I don't even like it here. Like, there's nothing that great about LA. It's super spread out. It's super expensive. To go from Hollywood down to Santa Monica or Venice Beach, it's like an hour in traffic. I just don't really see what the appeal of LA other than networking is. So back to London, just getting here, I just really fell in love with this city. So I'm gonna break down the pros and cons of why I really like London. So first of all, guys, I got a lot of notes here, so don't mind me if I continually look at my laptop or what's going on. And I also just wanted to break down the rent prices versus LA and the restaurant prices versus LA is kind of the baseline, as obviously when you're in a new spot, the most expensive things that you do are eating out and where you're actually living. So if you look at a website called Numbeo, you can actually do compare and contrast any city versus any other city. So, yo, guys, quick interruption here. I just want to tell you guys we have a free watch list for you guys to get tomorrow's best stock picks today. Links below, and you'll get our free watch list 5 days a week with our personal top stocks. Back to the podcast. LA versus London, rent prices are actually just about the same. Airbnb is actually quite a lot more expensive. The place we are living in now is $5,500 per month, but that was also on a big discount because it's a brand new listing. I believe list price was about $9,000 for an Airbnb. London is probably the highest rented Airbnbs I've ever seen. And I've been living in Airbnbs for 2 years straight. So London is by far probably the most expensive Airbnbs I've ever seen in the world. As far as restaurant prices go, restaurant prices are 7% lower in LA. So it's expensive to eat out here in London. But let's get to the pros. One, there is so much to do here. London is basically like 5 different little cities built into one area. First of all, we went into a place called Shoreditch. That's where we lived for a month. Super cool, super vibey little hipster area. Lots of really cool cafes, restaurants, a little bit more of a New York vibe in Shoreditch. We are now currently in Holborn, which is kind of more central. It's right above Covent Garden, Covent Garden is kind of like the touristy area. It's cool to go check out. I don't know if I'd want to live there, but I really love the area that we're in. I absolutely love this Airbnb. This is probably one of my favorite Airbnbs I've ever actually lived in. So a lot of stuff to do. So many cool places to go see in the area of London. Another plus and a pro of the UK is you don't have to tip 20%. I don't really know what the actual etiquette is, but you get automatically charged, I think it's 12.5% service charge automatically on every bill that you have. I think you can tip on top of that. I haven't been seeing anybody else do it either. So I think it's just a 12.5% tip. rate there. And in America, you always have to tip 20%. Not always, but it's basically, if you're not, they're obviously doing something wrong, and it's kind of just standard to do 20%. There's endless food options. There's so many places to eat in London. All these little cities within the city have just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. There's actually a lot of healthy food options. One of the biggest things for me when I'm living abroad is being able to have a good routine, and that requires a lot of healthy food choices. So there's a lot of really good healthy options here. There's a delivery app called Deliveroo. They have Uber Eats, and there's just a whole abundant options. I've been eating a lot at this place called Protein House. And it's just juices, smoothies, really healthy, kind of like a meal prep place to get delivered to your house. It is really expensive. It's probably about 25 bucks every time I order it just for a simple little lunch, but a lot of food options. It's also a motivating city. When you're in a place like this, you see people hustling. It's very expensive to live here, so you see a lot of people hustling to actually make that happen. So I really like being in a city like this in New York, is because if you're in an environment of people hustling, you're also gonna hustle, because that's just what everybody does. And if you don't, you're gonna get weeded out. You're gonna have to leave. So I love being in a city where there's a vibe of people hustling. So that's another big pro for me for London. Another really, really important thing to me is places to work. This could be co-working spaces, cafes, or what have you. Also our Airbnb. I love all the natural light in our Airbnb right now, so I don't mind working at home as much as well. I usually try to get out of the house to work as much as possible, but due to all the natural light in here, I actually don't mind working here. But London probably has the coolest workspaces out of any city I've gone to, and I'm not talking about co-working spaces. They have this place called the Hoxton, which is a hotel, but you go into the lobby area and it's this super vibey, really cool hangout spot. And you go in, everybody's on their laptops working. And then at about 5 p.m., everybody's drinking. I've taken several girls to dates there. So it's actually a really cool place that's just really well-rounded, and a lot of people are just in there hustling. There's also a place called the Ace Hotel, which is very similar. Where you can go in. It's kind of like a co-working space, but it's not. It's absolutely free. So the workspaces here, there's a lot of cafes. The Hoxton, the Ace Hotel, definitely two places I'd highly recommend if you're a digital nomad or freelancer to go check out. Here is another big one, okay? The UK is probably the closest culture you can get to the US. So when I got here, it kind of felt good because I kind of felt like home. And it was just a level of comfort that I was like, all right, this is nice. You know, living in Bali for a while. We were just in Budapest where everybody's speaking Hungarian. You know, it just was like, just like a little bit of a sigh of relief. And that also means very fast internet. And another huge deal is they have Amazon here. If anybody knows me in the US, my apartment always had boxes stacked up of Amazon boxes. I'm addicted to Amazon, so it's really nice to actually come here and be able to have the convenience of Amazon Prime, being able to order whatever I want, have it delivered the next day. And so I really appreciate those conveniences that they have here in the UK that's similar to the US. One more quick little thing, this is also something similar to the US, is Santander. These little bikes that you cruise around the city, they're basically just stationed. You know, they don't really have the ones where they're just placed all over the place, but I do take Santanders all over the city on a day-to-day basis. I've probably ridden them 3 times today already, to the gym, to the Hoxton this morning, and what have you. So convenient to ride around the city. Last and not least, final pro of London is dating apps, okay? Obviously, I'm a single guy and I travel the world, and one of the easiest ways to meet girls is through dating apps. I don't really drink or party that much anymore, so I'm not really in the party scene or at the bars too often. So for me, it's very easy to just get on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, whatever app you like, and just start swiping and connect with really cool people. So London, there's so many people here, and I've definitely met a lot of cool people. It doesn't mean that I'm having relationships. Sometimes it's just friends. So these apps aren't just sex apps. They're places to actually meet people and network with people as well. And as someone who is traveling the world full time, it's definitely a plus. And also someone who doesn't really party anymore, as a place to actually meet cool people online with the simplicity of a dating app. All right, so what are the cons of London? Obviously, cost of living here is freaking ridiculous. Rent prices are out of control. Airbnb is the most expensive places I've ever seen in the world. So it's hard to live. You know, sometimes I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm ready to leave. Even though I'm not ready to leave, we're leaving in about 2 weeks. Some part of me is like, I'm looking forward to Cape Town. That's gonna be great. Another one is Uber is ridiculously expensive. To get around, one, there's another aspect is it takes a very long time to get around the city. I think it's faster just to ride a bike over anything else. In the city, you can definitely take the tube or Ubers, but a lot of times to go like see my buddy Sal in Fulham, it's like an hour tube ride. So I'm like, a lot of times it's like, I just don't even want to deal with having to do a 2-hour round trip. So it's a little bit inconvenient to get out of the city, around the city, depending on where you live, unless you're centrally located, and very expensive to get around. Last and not least is the weather. We actually haven't been experiencing too bad of weather here. I don't really mind it, but I can imagine at some point I would get a little depressed of this kind of cold, gloomy weather. I enjoy it for a couple months, but I lived in Oregon. I grew up there for 22 years, and I left basically because it's cloudy all the time. And that's kind of the weather we're here in now today in London. So my number 2 favorite city in the world to live abroad is Bali, Indonesia, preferably Changu over any other places, okay? Just to give you a comparison against the baseline of LA, the rent prices are about 757% higher in LA to live than they are in Bali. I believe restaurant prices are about 275% higher in LA compared to Bali as well. So obviously, one of the biggest pros of living in Bali is it's absolutely cheap and the quality of life there is so amazing and it's so beautiful. The scenery is super chill. Changu is a really beautiful place, but a lot of people think they're gonna go there and see an amazing beach. You're not. It's kind of a black sand, grimy beach. But a lot of the scenery, if you go down south towards Uluwatu, you're gonna see some of the most amazing cliffsides over beaches that you're ever gonna see in the world. So Uluwatu, if you wanna go see some amazing cliffside and beaches, that's where the tropical water is. Changu is a little bit more a place to just hang out, chill vibes, get some work done. With that said, my favorite co-working space in the world is in Changu, Bali. It's a place called Dojo. They got a freaking swimming pool in the middle of the co-working office space. I don't think I've ever seen anybody swim in it, but just the fact that it's there. You swim in it? I never swam in it. Norbert says he swam in it. I wonder if he's lying or not, because I never saw anybody actually be in there. I've seen people dip their feet. I maybe dipped my feet, and that was about it. But a super cool spot where a lot of digital nomads go and hang out in Changu, Bali. So if you're in Bali and looking for a co-working space, Dojo is the spot. Next pro of Changu. Literally, like I said, a requirement for me for living is a lot of healthy food options. And in Changu, Bali, it's probably the highest, I don't even know how to explain this, compact area of the most amount of healthy food options in the entire world. The whole entire little city is built off of, as somebody was saying, they call it white girl brunch, for girls that are posting on Instagram of like really healthy food. And that's basically the epitome of Changu, is really healthy food. Probably my favorite places to go in Changu would be Peloton, which is all vegan. I'm not vegan. My ex-girlfriend brought me there. I was like, I don't want to go, I need some meat. And then I went there for the first time and I was like, this is fucking amazing. I even brought Norbert there and he's like, what the hell is this? It's like, it's chicken, bro. It's not even chicken.
It tastes like chicken.
It tastes like chicken. It's absolutely amazing. So go get the chicken parma at Peloton Super Shop in Changu. If you want the best steak in the absolute world, I've eaten steaks, so many steaks over the last 2 years of my life, all over the world, some of the biggest cities in the world, littlest cities in the world. Go to Akayu Bakar in Changu. Hands down, the best steak I've ever had in the world, with a little bit of charcoal cauliflower. It's absolutely amazing. It's like $14. So it's another big pro. The cost of food in Bali is so freaking cheap and it's the best food in the world. Next big pro of living in Bali is you can get amazing villas for relatively cheap. Okay, you're still gonna be spending $3,000 to $6,000 per month for something amazing, but $3,000 to $6,000 per month in a lot of other places aren't gonna get you a whole lot. Bali, you're gonna get the most bang for your buck. Probably the best villas I've ever stayed in the world are in Bali, Indonesia. So definitely a spot where if you want to live in someplace really, really cool, get your own pool, really cool spot, Bali is the place. Next big pro about Bali is it's relatively small, so it's very easy to get around. If you're comfortable with riding a scooter, it's absolutely fun to do it, but you have to be very careful. If you look in the news, people are dying every day in Bali in scooter accidents. So I didn't really wear my helmet too often. I probably should have, and I would definitely recommend doing that, but you gotta be very careful driving around in Bali. It's a little hectic, but super fun to ride around the scooters. In addition, Bali is a great place to meet a lot of people. It's not, there are locals there. I had thought about even living there at one point in my life. When we were just there, I was actually house shopping. I was like, I want to move to Bali. I didn't, but I definitely thought about it. And there's definitely a local scene, but there's also a lot of people coming and going every day. So most of the people in the towns are very open to meeting new people because everybody's there on their little vacation or what have you, looking to meet new people. So it's definitely not cliquey at all, and everybody's looking to have some fun. Last and certainly not least about Bali, this is something that they recently got within the last year of when I just went there. We just lived there for 2 months, and this was absolutely amazing, is they got something called Gojek. There used to be Uber there, they booted it out. Now they have something called Gojek. This is literally Uber Eats and Uber combined in one. So you can actually get all this amazing food delivered to your house. If you need a ride somewhere, you just go on an app, order a Gojek. So the convenience factor of that was a huge game changer for living in Bali. All right, so obviously all is not the best in Bali, so there's definitely some cons. So I just want to break down some of my list that I got here of what some of the cons are. First of all, it's a lot dirtier than a lot of people expect, okay? When you think of Bali, like, oh man, it's probably so beautiful, but a lot of it can be actually pretty dirty. And sometimes they have a burning season where they burn all the trash. It can be very smoky, very smelly. They're burning plastic, they're burning rubber. There's trash all over the place in a lot of areas. So you definitely got to take note that sometimes a lot of areas can be definitely dirty in Bali. The next is laundry, okay? Laundry, while super cheap and convenient there, you just go drop your stuff off, they fold it up all nicely. You can definitely ruin a lot of clothes in Bali. For one, if you're riding scooters around all day, your stuff gets really dirty. Like I had these light colored pair of jean shorts that were basically turned brown just from all the dust of me riding my scooter. And then you go take your stuff to these laundry mats where there's like a flame above the dryer trying to heat up the clothes, and then they give it back and some of your stuff is ruined, stained, changed colors. So you definitely got to be careful with the laundry mats in Bali. Another downside of Bali is visas are typically only 30 days. So if you want to stay there for an extended period of time, some people like this, some people may not. You basically have to fit in a mini vacation every 30 days to another country and get out of the country, pay for flights every time, go stay somewhere and come back to reset your visa. So sometimes that might be convenient. After traveling for 2 years, I would rather just stay there and not have to do all these little mini trips. I'm definitely getting on the edge of, getting sick of short-term travel. Like I'm here in London, I'm staying for 2 months, okay? I wanna stay in any place I go for 1 to 2 months, and that's about what I would like. Because I actually like to live there and kind of get a feel for the culture, find places that I would maybe even want to settle down someday. So having to do that's a little bit inconvenient for me. Another big con for Bali for me, this is basically kind of the game changer, which is why every time I go, I'm like, all right, I gotta get the fuck out of this place, is the time zone. Being that I am a day trader by trade, I've been doing it for 14 years. The stock market opens at 9:30 p.m. In addition, I run an American company, so all my team is on the East Coast of the USA as well. So in order for me to work and run my business, I have to work very late nights and very early mornings. So I'm constantly battling a very fucked up sleep schedule that kind of makes me miserable, but then I wake up and I'm in Bali, I'm like, oh, this is great, but I'm exhausted. And so my sleep schedule is always super fucked up. So if you're constricted to an American company or an American time zone, it's not the best place to live. Every time I go, I show up amazed, and then I leave relieved that I'm getting out of this time zone. So hopefully someday I'm not constricted by time zones and I can actually go there and enjoy my day without working super late nights and super early mornings. Another thing to take note of is The internet is very shoddy in Bali still. They're still working on getting their technology up to speed where you can actually have super reliable connections. Being a day trader, it can make it very difficult. Being a digital marketer that I run webinars to do sales, coming in and out of internet connection can totally ruin your webinar and cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. So you gotta make sure you have a reliable connection. Dojo has a pretty good solid connection, and they do have private rooms that you can rent out if you need privacy.
Are you on your Instagram?
Yeah, just taking a mental break. All right, now we're going to the number one place that I love.
Which is...
Bum, 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 Cape Town. Ooh, ay, ay, ay. That's like the jungle. What was I thinking? Lion King. I gotta go pee. We'll be back. Stay tuned, folks. I'm going pee. Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. So let's get into the pros and cons of Cape Town, my number one place to live in the world abroad. Okay, first of all, let's just talk about the rent prices and restaurant prices. The rent prices are 178% higher in LA. The restaurant prices are about 105%. So it's definitely not ridiculously cheap, but a lot cheaper, half the price of living in LA. We just rented this amazing 3-bedroom, epic fucking house or condo, I don't know what it is, in Cape Town. You're gonna see it in December. It's absolutely amazing. We're gonna be there for 3 months. I can't freaking wait to go back to Cape Town. So let's get into some of the pros. One, obviously the cost of living. Number two, it is the most beautiful place you've ever seen in the world, okay? A lot of people, especially me, when somebody was like, hey, you wanna go to Cape Town? I was like, is that in Africa? They're like, yeah. I'm like, why are we going to Africa? Like, it's just not something as just stupid Americans, basically. They don't know. I think a lot of the world is like that. Like, why would we go to Africa? What's in Africa? But it's actually the most beautiful place I've ever been to in the world. And I've been to a lot of different places. There's something called the 12 Apostles. When you're getting in a car and you're driving around the bend right after you go past Clifton, which is probably the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen in the world as well, and you see 12 Apostles for the first time, you're literally mind blown at this view, and it never gets old. We were there for 4 months last year, and every time I rounded that corner and saw 12 Apostles, it's just like, Norbert, do you see this? Again. That literally was our reaction every time. So I'm super excited to go see this again. There's also some of the most amazing hikes. You have Table Mountain. You also have Lion's Head, which is an amazing spot. It's a very popular spot. There's always this really cool people going up there. We did it at sunrise one time in one of our former vlogs. I think we got up at like 2, 3 in the morning.
3 in the morning?
3 in the morning to go out there. So, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do that again. I'm not really the biggest fan of waking up at 2, 3 in the morning. It was definitely worth it to at least do once for sunrise. You get up to the top of Lion's Head, you see the sun peeking over the other side of Table Mountain, you see Cape Town below, and you're on top of this mountain with Clifton and Camps Bay behind you. It's just like, where are we? This is like the coolest place on the planet. So one of the biggest things for me about Cape Town is it's literally the most beautiful place in the world. Another big pro, obviously, like I said, I need healthy food options. So Cape Town is surprisingly up to speed with kind of modern culture of vegan, paleo, all that kind of stuff of healthy living. It's actually a very predominantly healthy living lifestyle down there. So probably 2 of my favorite spots to go eat are Strangers Club. Is that what it's called? Strangers Things? Stranger Things. Stranger Club. Stranger Things is the show. The Stranger Club is the name of the place. So definitely gotta check out Strangers Club. It's like this little hidden spot. You're gonna have to look up on Google Maps. You're not gonna see it on the street. And the other spot is Schechter's Raw, which is this really good vegan place. I would literally go there every morning, and then I would go work out at Sweat 1000, which is owned by Andrew and Paul, my boys out there who own that place. One of the coolest gyms I've ever been to. Sweat 1000, view looks over the ocean, and then behind it is BUC Fitness, one of the coolest gyms ever, and you're looking out and you see Lion's Head from the gym. So one of the coolest gyms ever. So you got healthy food and an amazing gym. I was probably in one of the best shapes of my life while living in Cape Town. So I definitely got to tell you my favorite places to eat in Cape Town. Two places are my favorite steaks. Obviously, Akayu Bakar is probably the best steak in the world that I've ever had. And my two favorite places to eat steak in Cape Town would number one be Nelson's Eye. It's like this super old school, kind of like old fashioned place. You go get this amazing filet that's topped with like these shaved onions and this peppercorn sauce. It's absolutely amazing. Definitely check out Nelson's Eye. Next one is NV80, that's N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, 80. That's down in Sea Point. Really cool, vibey spot. Good place to go get some drinks with the boys. Good place to go out on a date, and an amazing place to go get a nice filet mignon steak. They also have a bunch of other options. My favorite restaurant, hands down, in Cape Town isn't even a steak place. It's a course set menu place called Chef's Warehouse. Me, my buddy Joe, and Norbert went there one time, got absolutely blitzed drunk because they don't take reservations, but they have this little bar down underground underneath where you go and sit and just drink. Because sometimes it takes 2 hours of waiting to even get into the restaurant. So we just sat there and drank for 2 hours. By the time we sat down, we were already drunk. Then we had 2 or 3 or 4 more bottles of wine over the course of our menu. This was on a Monday, mind you. And then we decided, let's go to the strip club. And we brought Norbert to his very first strip club in Cape Town, South Africa, right after Chef's Warehouse. So if you want to go to a really cool experience, Chef's Warehouse is definitely my favorite restaurant in Cape Town. You can skip the strip club if you want, or you can go on a Monday. Why not? Continuing on with the pros, Cape Town and the surrounding areas, the scenery is absolutely beautiful and it's a perfect place for vineyards. So we actually went to one vineyard. I don't even know what it's called, but I'm gonna overlay some B-roll here of just where we were. And there's a bunch of them just like this to go check out. So if you wanna go to Cape Town, drink some nice wine, there's an abundance of amazing vineyards to go check out. So last and certainly not least, this is probably the coolest thing about Cape Town is that during the American winter, it is summertime in Cape Town, South Africa. So there's literally no better place to be in the world during winter of America and the UK than South Africa. I showed up last year in November and I left in March, and it's the most amazing weather you've ever been. If you're in the US, the weather sucks. If you're in the UK, the weather sucks. But down in Cape Town, it's summertime and it's freaking amazing. So why not spend the summer down there or in the American winter? Being that it's summer down there, there's also festivals every weekend. You think like, Coachella, that kind of vibe stuff. There's literally a different festival going on every weekend down there in Cape Town. So I definitely went to probably a little bit more than I wanted. I don't really go party as much as I used to, but I definitely had fun. If you're younger and in your 20s, it's a really cool spot to go if you want to party during the summer. In addition to that, they have something called The Season, according to all the people that do this down there. Cape Town is actually a huge model haven and Instagram haven for a lot of models that come down there for what they call the season. So if you go down to Clifton, which is one of the most amazing, beautiful beaches in the world, there's always Instagram model babes or wannabe Instagram model babes, whatever you want to call them. Some of them are real, some of them are not, some are just trying. I don't know, but they're all beautiful girls that are down there. So Cape Town's definitely a spot if you want to go see some beautiful women. What do I hate about Cape Town? Not a whole lot, but there are a few things. One, the nightlife isn't really my kind of vibe per se. There's this place called Arcade, which is like the hot spot. I don't know, I'm probably just too old to be going there anymore. It's like a sweaty cesspool of shoulder to shoulder people like this, fucking wasted and sweating because it's usually pretty hot at night. And last time I went there, I was just standing there sweating, touching a bunch of people like this, not moving, in really loud music where you can't talk. So that's not really my thing anymore. So, but that's like the hot spot to go to. So not the biggest fan of the nightlife in Cape Town, but maybe that's also a good thing because that's not really something I'm super big into anymore. Next up is safety. This is a con, but it's more so something I hear people talk about a lot as opposed to anything I personally saw. I was there for 4 months. I had no trouble whatsoever at any point of my stay. I felt super safe. I think you just need to be mindful of where you're going. There was stories about some guys joining people on a hike somewhere in the vicinity of Cape Town, and they acted like they were fellow hikers, but they weren't. They pulled out knives and stabbed everybody and killed them and stole their stuff. So apparently things do happen there in Cape Town. There was also another guy who got stabbed to death who was a bouncer at a nightclub. I guess they're stabbings. So maybe look out for people with knives. Be careful. But as far as my experience there, I didn't have any trouble. I felt super safe the entire time. Another con is that it's so far away, okay? Usually to get to places, I'm used to like 12 to 15 hour flights now. I'm like, oh, it's not too bad. Even though a lot of people are like, shit, I'm not flying 12 to 15 hours. If you want to go to Cape Town, it's like 20 to 50, depending on what flight path you're taking. Probably least amount is probably like 22. Highest I've seen is like 50. So it just depends on the availability of flights and where you're flying out of from. I think we're flying from Vancouver this time, Canada, and I believe it's actually only 22 hours, which I'm like mind blown. That's how short it is. Even though when you think about it, 22 hours is a long time. When we came back from Cape Town, we flew to LA, and that was like a 32-hour trip, and that was miserable, not fun at all. Another part of Cape Town, okay? While it is a touristy place, and for the most part, everybody is super, super nice. I didn't run into anybody rude. I just felt like sometimes it gets a little cliquey as far as the people there. You know, I think it just was a little bit harder to meet people and get mixed into groups. Most of the people I hung out with were also fellow visitors from Cape Town. I did meet a lot of really, really super cool and nice people from South Africa as well. So that's not to talk bad about anybody there, but I just felt like the networking part was a little bit more difficult than most places I've been. Okay, so obviously I gotta talk about dating apps in Tinder in Cape Town, whatever. Obviously, like I said, I travel, I use dating apps, I'm a single guy, so it's a very easy way for me to network and meet people. I can't say it's the best place in the world for dating apps. I really didn't have much luck there at all with them. So it's if you wanna go to a place to meet girls on Tinder, it's probably not your best bet. All right, so closing thoughts on Cape Town. This is the final con of the place, which in some cases is actually a pro, depending on what you're doing. But me, I'm a hustler, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm always trying to grow, be bigger, be better, grow my business. I don't even know if anybody in Cape Town works. You go to Clifton Beach on a Monday and it's just filled with people chilling. And it's like, shit, I wanna go chill too. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to work and get shit done because everybody's just hanging out at the cafe, sipping their lattes or sitting on the beach or doing some model shoot. And you're just like, fuck, I wanna go to the beach. I don't wanna be working right now. So while it is a con because I'm trying to get shit done, sometimes it's a pro, or for a lot of people there who are on vacation, it's absolutely amazing because there's a lot of people just chillaxing. So those are my top 3 cities to live in. If I literally had to be on rotation again for a 3rd year, I might just go to those 3 cities because they meet all the requirements that I need to live a happy life. That's just good quality life, good food, good people, good scenery, just good vibes. Cape Town, Bali, London, those are my top 3. There's also a lot of other cool places I've been that I'm absolutely in love with, but I don't know if they're places I really am dying to go to. The other 3 top cities that I would say are probably Lisbon, Portugal, Koh Phangan, Thailand, and Hong Kong. All 3 places absolutely amazing, totally livable, and I love everything about them. But anyways, guys, that is a wrap for this video. I've been traveling for almost 2 years. I don't know when this is gonna end. I really don't know, but I love traveling so much. We got a lot more traveling coming up into the next year. We're hitting Miami, New York, LA, and we're going to Canada, and then we're going back to Cape Town for 3 months, and I have no idea where I'm going after that. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap for today's video. If you like this video, if you want to see more, we got a lot more stuff coming. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hey. That's it. I'm hungry. Fuck. I need some whiskey. It's the Running Man. It's not a big deal. Fucking sweating. Jesus Christ.
You sweating?
Yeah.